Welcome to another episode of Live from Jacksonville. I don't normally date check these shows, but it is Saturday, November 1st as we head into the end of the year. It's getting really busy here with holiday shows all over Jacksonville. But first, let's run down some other things that are going on. Newly announced, Morgan Wallen will perform 2 nights at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, a.k.a. The Swamp, at the University of Florida in Gainesville. I believe it's May 15th and 16th. Check out morganwallen.com for the pre-sale information. That thing's going to sell out pretty dang quick, so if you're a Morgan Wallen fan, you need to be on that already. Daly's Place is kind of shutting down for a while in a few weeks, but they do still have Leonard Skinner on Saturday, November 8th, and Sting, which is sold out, on Tuesday, November 11th, and then Daly's goes dark. Nothing scheduled at all for 2026 as construction for the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium of the Future kicks into overdrive. The St. Augustine Amphitheater is pretty quiet, too, until late November, but rising country star Hudson Westbrook will be at the Amp on Friday, November 20th, and country singer John Party has 2 Christmas shows, Friday, December 12th, and Saturday, the 13th. Check out theamp.com for information on those shows. Coming in the next few weeks at the Florida Theater, Wednesday, November 5th, Blank Space, the unofficial Taylor Swift tribute. November 6th, Hotel California, a salute to the Eagles. Thursday, November 13th, Nutcracker, Magical Christmas Ballet. Friday, November 14th, an evening with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And Tuesday, November 18th, the life and music of George Michael. I recently had a chance to chat with Craig Winberry, who performs as George Michael in that show. That interview is coming up. The Thrasher Horn Center in Orange Park is knee-deep in Christmas already. A Charlie Brown Christmas Live on Stage is Saturday, November 15th, and a Magical Cirque Christmas on Thursday, November 20th. I'll run down the rest of their Christmas shows for the rest of the year on the next episode, but get to thcenter.org to check out the other shows coming up. The newly renovated Ponte Vedra Concert Hall has the Wallflowers coming Tuesday, November 11th. Country music icon Crystal Gale on Tuesday, November 18th. Ben Folds and a piano on tour Saturday, November 22nd. And who had this on their 2025 bingo card? Queensryche will be at the Ponte Vedra Concert Hall on Saturday, November 23rd. pvconcerthall.com for tickets and information on those shows. And finally, the FSCJ Artist Series has a number of great holiday shows on the books for the remainder of the year, including Cirque Dream Holidays on Sunday, November 30th, Carol Mania, a very, very cool Christmas extravaganza on Friday, December 5th, and Sarah Brightman, a Winter Symphony on Saturday, December 6th. But before all that, the new season of FSCJ's Broadway in Jacksonville kicks off on Tuesday, November 18th, with 6 days and 8 performances of Clue live on stage. Last week, I had a chance to speak with Adam Brett, who's playing the butler in the touring production. We recorded the interview earlier in the morning, and I started out apologizing for disturbing him so early because I figured he was out late the night before.
You know, it's a short show, believe it or not, so it makes, we still don't get out too late, but you're buzzing after the show, so
yeah,
it's definitely hard to fall asleep.
We're actually going to do an after party for opening night here in Jacksonville that I'm going to host, so I'm looking forward to seeing the show that night and then hosting the after party for you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks so much for hosting. That's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We're so looking forward to getting down there and doing the show for you guys.
So you play Wadsworth in Clue live on stage, and this is the character that Tim Curry played in the movie 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like for you, stepping in those shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of this movie. I mean, this movie is a touchstone for me, I know. And to play a part that Tim Curry originated is a dream come true and quite surreal. Tim Curry has bled into the psyche since I was a 5-year-old kid, watching him in all of his movies and TV shows and just everything he's done. Particularly my favorite was always Muppet Treasure Island. But getting to see him in Clue, it was a game I played when I was a kid with my family. And later on, I was introduced to the movie and was like, oh, I know this guy. And, the kind of backflips and tongue twisters and just the high energy that this man does in this movie is so impressive. So to emulate that in a way and to also make it my own is just a blast. It really is.
So you obviously saw the movie, probably long before you got this role. Have you watched it again since you got the role to kind of like refresh, his performance?
I think a lot of us in the cast who are all exceptional actors, we all have different processes, and some people haven't watched the movie. They are deciding not to watch the movie because I don't want to kind of put on what someone else is doing.
Right.
Which is brilliant. Those actors in that movie are all brilliant. Madeline Kahn and Michael McKean and Eileen Brennan, so on and so forth. But for me in particular, I keep on watching the movie. I can't be Wadsworth without Tim Curry. They go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of to see what he does and respect it and not copy it, but respect it and say, I kind of like the way he looks to Mrs. White on that line or whatever it might be. Or, some of these lines are so iconic. So you kind of want to deliver it in a way that is similar to how one of the actors delivers it because everyone's going to appreciate it, because it's a fan favorite.
I was working in a record/video store when that movie went to video, and it was one of the ones that if it didn't rent out, we would take home on the weekends and just kind of have in the background. But I haven't seen it since, when it first came out on VHS, which tells you how old I am. And I decided not to watch it again before I see the play because I kind of want everything to be fresh and new for me.
Yeah, it's what Sandy Rustin, who wrote the play and adapted it from the movie, the brilliant movie that was written by Jonathan Lynn. It honors so many of the iconic moments in the movie and, of course, references so much from the board game. But it also makes its own kind of piece in the Clue zeitgeist, So the characters are a little bit more in depth. You have a few different jokes and bits, and because it's a play and not a movie, things just read differently. And so it feels like it's its own different thing, but also completely, takes in what the movie does.
I'm looking forward to actually watching the movie after I see the play and then kind of connect the two, kind of on the back end of it.
That's a great way. And then you'll have to play the board game after that, too.
Oh, let me tell you something, Adam. Growing up, this was my number one favorite board game by far. I was so good at it.
Yeah, me too. Although it's been a minute since I've played. I've watched the movie a lot, but I haven't played the game in a very long time.
Yeah, me neither. It's probably only been about 5 or 6 years for me because we do have it around where my parents, when we visit my parents for the holidays, and we always end up breaking out board games. So that's a lot of fun.
Do you have a character you usually play as?
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm Colonel Mustard.
Such an iconic character.
Yeah. I picture in my mind who I am as Colonel Mustard, and I get to work when I get to play in that game.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you have a big, fluffy, golden mustache, too, right?
Absolutely. And it's ironic because I can't grow facial hair.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a few minutes ago that this is a play, and this is something I'm excited about because we mostly get Broadway musicals coming to town as part of the Broadway in Jacksonville series, and I don't know when I've seen a straight-up play here in town, so I'm really looking forward to that, too.
Yeah, musicals are amazing, and plays sometimes get, just not as produced as much. But what's so fun about Clue is that it is a play, but it also feels like a musical because there is such a rhythm and a meter to how we speak, and each character has a kind of a different melody. They almost sound like a different instrument. Colonel Mustard might sound like this brassy trombone, and Mrs. White dances like a clarinet or something. So it's really fun to kind of hear these almost songs, which are really just bits. But it is a play, and it's so much fun. And there's some really beautiful scoring done that, honors the movie, and some unique and spooky jazz. And it's really a great show for being a play that also almost feels like a musical.
As a performer of stage, do you prefer like a play or do you prefer a musical? Because I know you were in The Music Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, were you in a version of Cabaret?
Yeah, I love a really good musical that has a really good script. And The Music Man and The Cabaret are two amazing musicals that just have a really great book. And the dialogue is sharp and it's witty. and it's deep. I mean, those are two very different but beautiful musicals. But I trained as an actor. I have a lot of Shakespeare training, so plays is my jam just as much as musicals are. But it's fun, and it's quite a joy to kind of be a versatile actor in that way, where I get to dip my toes into all different mediums.
I'm sure that's got to be, whatever you're doing has got to be great, because it's such a high to be on stage and doing that kind of thing. I get the same feeling being on the radio. Just every morning when we go to work, it's like, this is what I live for. Yes,
agreed. I'm so happy to hear that, and I feel the same way. It's a hard industry being an actor, but when it's working and everything is just really magical, and everything really does pay off.
All right, Clue live on stage will be here in Jacksonville, Broadway in Jacksonville, part of the FSCJ Artist Series, November 18th through November 23rd. Adam, Brett, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to see you at the after party and share with you how much I loved the play.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Amadeus. This was a pleasure talking to you today.
Tickets for Clue and all of the upcoming FSCJ Artist Series Broadway in Jacksonville shows are available at fscjartistseries.org. Now, I mentioned earlier that the life and music of George Michael is coming to the Florida Theater on Tuesday, November 18th. Several months ago, it seems like, I had a chance to speak with Craig Winberry, who is one of the George Michaels in the show. There's two guys that perform as George Michael. And I started off telling him that I was at last year's production. I was at the show last year, and I had so much fun. It moved me. I was crying. I was laughing. I was dancing.
Oh, well, it's good. I'm glad you've seen the show. That's fantastic.
Hey, just to let you know, I properly creeped all your socials before we chatted. So
okay.
The first thing I want to do is ask you about Bubbles.
Bubble. I think you're the first interview that I've gotten a question about Bubbles. But Bubbles is my best friend, obviously. She's wonderful. And oh my God, I'm going to miss her when I'm on the road. I literally have my family send me like pics of her all the time.
Is she a Maltese? I couldn't quite tell. I don't think I saw a face picture.
She's a Shih Tzu. She's the runt of the litter. But, people ask us that all the time. She's more predominantly a Shih Tzu. But yes, we think the breeder wanted them to be a little bit more white, because Shih Tzus have that natural, like, I don't want to say brindle, but patches. They're not one solid color.
Yeah.
And Bubbles is pretty much white, and she does have there's like a little like black hairs from there and like gray or whatever, but we think there might be something else in the bloodline.
I was wondering if you were able to take her on the road or not, and so I guess not, huh?
No, I would love to, but there's a couple people in the band, and that one's allergic, and the other one was like, I don't want a dog. I was like, it's Bubbles. She doesn't bark.
Also, I got to tell you, I think there was a video on YouTube that you did. It must have been during the pandemic, a cover of Madonna's Sooner or Later. And I'm a huge fan of the Dick Tracy soundtrack. And as soon as I saw that,
right.
I'm like, that's got to be that song. And it was so good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was, when everything kind of switched off and everybody had to go from live entertainment to digital. I sing at Stonewall occasionally, and we have like it's a monthly, where like singer-songwriters get together, and then there's Madonna worship that I do too, the same kind of guy that puts it together. And Madonna and I share the same birthday, so I've always been, I grew up on Madonna. She's highly influential in my life, and that's Stephen Sondheim. So, I love that album. It's a fantastic album.
I was in New York over the summer to see, I was there to see Orville Peck in Cabaret, but I saw
Eddie Redmayne, but I didn't get to see him.
Well, I didn't get to either, because we were standing in line and the usher walks out and said, Orville's not going to be in the show tonight if anybody wants a refund. I stayed, but I was really disappointed because I planned the entire vacation around seeing Orville. But we ended up seeing the last night of Bernadette Peters in that Sondheim play that was playing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
If that happens, I tell most people, anyone that's visiting New York, when you come here, if that happens, the person that you're here to see, if you go to the box office and tell them, I want my money back, or can you give me another ticket? They'll usually give you a ticket upgrade at no charge. So You have to be nice, though, and not freak out on them. But, yeah, most of the box offices want people coming back and to see the performer that they want. So.
Well, unfortunately, I was flying out the next morning, and now you tell me? Thanks.
Yeah, no, I've lived in New York now over a decade, and there's little tips and tricks of especially rush tickets. And if you can get to Midtown by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning when they open up, those rush tickets that they give out in the morning are phenomenal seats.
Well, that's good to know, too.
The one I love right now, if it's still open next summer, maybe it is, it's gaining popularity, is Maybe Happy Ending. It's just a lovely show. The music is great. The story, it's innovative. It's new. It's a new story. It's really cool.
I'll definitely have to put that on my list. Thanks for the suggestion. So you are in The Life and Music of George Michael. It's coming to the Florida Theater on Tuesday, November 18th. I want to talk about that show, but first, can you quickly tell me about your debut album? Is it called Sidewalk Survival Guide?
It is. Sidewalk Survival Guide is my debut album, and I say this to people. It is music and also an opportunity to journal. I don't know if you write or journaling has helped me get through things, but it's music for somebody that's on their way, finding themselves and ending up somewhere else. And I probably jumbled that up, but yeah, it's a kind of a little bit of my life story, and it starts off with More Than Enough, and the title track kind of speaks for itself, or the opening track speaks for itself, is that once you decide you want to change your life or move and go forward, you first have to realize that you're more than enough. Perfection does not exist. Sometimes you just have to go. And then, the next song's it was my next step in life. And Goodbye Baby Brother is about me leaving small town Arkansas and all those small-minded people, and you have to say versions of yourself goodbye to them, and I'm no longer that person, but thank you for getting me to this point. And then City Limits is coming out and going to the city and doing all those things that they tell us that aren't good. And anyway, I could go through each track, but that's just kind of what it is. It's an opportunity for if you are wanting to change something in your life, to know that you can do it. And all it takes is just a step. It's moving you forward to where you want to be.
I can't wait to listen to that. I've been, like I said, I worked in a record store in the 80s. I've been a music lover my whole life, and looking back on my life now and a lot of the artists that I follow, like I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And it's
Me neither. No, I love what she's doing.
It's like
she's not my favorite, but I'm not going to hate on good music.
Right, exactly. And I feel like Taylor is basically writing her diary, and she'll look back one day at all these albums and be like, I chronicled my life this way.
Yeah, that's kind of what Sidewalk Survival Guide is. When people find it, I want them to take whatever they get up, because the music, it's not one specific, there's rock, and then the next track it's like gospel organs, and then the third track, City Limits, is like a dance track with like pop vibes to it, and then you get to Deep Cut, and it's this EDM crazy. And that point in my life of the story is like, I know what I wanted to do, but it was crazy because everybody's coming at me, and then there's some 80 synths in there, and then there's a good old country song, Sidewalk Survival, that closes the album out, and there's bossa nova, some jazz. I mean, there's all I'm sure, and I did this independently, and when we were wrapping up last year's tour in November, I just had all these ideas for these songs, and I looked at it and I was like, you've got an album. And I'd been writing and producing music with a friend of mine here, who's a Broadway producer. We did Bay Suite, and that's just like dance club music. You know what I mean? Anthems for the boys out there shaking it and having a good time. And it's a dance influence. But this, my solo debut, was more of okay, I want to do all the genres of music I want, but let's put them all on the same one.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
I kind of solely tease, but I like when you're listening to More Than Enough, I just you can sit there and journal and think okay, tell yourself that. What are you good at? What are you proud of? What makes you, and then Goodbye Baby Brother, what version of yourself did you have to say goodbye to? Was it the people pleaser? Was it someone that was locked in fear? But that's what the album's for.
I love it. I'm going to recommend an album to you when you have some spare time. It's by Baz Luhrmann. It's called Something for Everybody.
Yes, I love Baz Luhrmann.
I think you'll love this album. It is literally, like you just said, all over the map with genres and ideas. And
does he sing?
No, he produced it, but
okay.
It's a really
he's a phenomenal director, and brilliant. I loved the Elvis movies.
It goes way back in his catalog, but it's a mind blowing album. So
what was it again?
Something for Everybody.
That is kind of like Sidewalk Survival Guide. There's something in there for everybody.
Yeah, as you were describing it, I was thinking about that Baz Luhrmann album, which I haven't even thought about in 20 years probably. I know you've got other people to talk to, and I have limited time, which I hate. But let's talk real quickly about the life and music of George Michael.
Sure. You know what? I'm feeling generous today, so I had somebody cancel on me sitting in a Zoom and nobody got in there, so I'm going to give you their time.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about the show. I was there last year, blown away. Like I said before, I'm a huge George Michael fan. I didn't realize there's two singers that take on this whole project, right?
Yeah, the Wham era George, and then the solo era George, which is me.
And I was a big fan of everything from Listen Without Prejudice on. I love the Wham stuff. Of course, everyone does. But George got so introspective, and his writing became so amazing from Listen Without Prejudice on, and I loved that stuff.
He literally held a mirror up to society's face.
Yeah.
Whether it's social injustice, LGBTQ rights.
One of my favorite songs of his overall is Older. Anytime I listen to that, it moves me. And I was wondering, do you have a favorite song that you perform or songs?
Well, it changes. Like right now, of course, I'm rehearsing, and so you worked at a record store, and I'm sure you'll probably know this. Fantastic was their first album.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it wasn't big, but it was, obviously it was big. It had some hits on there, but Love Machine, do you know that song?
Yes.
On there?
Yeah.
Okay, so first time that I heard that, when I first started doing this show in 2022, I was like, that's not George Michael. And I was like, wait a minute. That is George Michael. He sounds like an R&B guy, and it just blew me back because in that Fantastic is so crazy because if you really sit and listen to it from not necessarily like a critic's viewpoint or whatever, but just someone that's like, okay, I'm studying how they developed the Wham sound. Like there's the Wham sound is there, but there's other different types of sounds that he could have gone into. And it's so fascinating to see, like when they did put out the next album, like, oh, it was solidified. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is the sound. This is the style. This is who we are. We're young kids having a fun,
Yeah.
But Love Machine. But then I also, like you said, Listen Without Prejudice, The Waiting reprise, Hand to Mouth. I see people reference that a lot online right now. That whole album's great. Older album. If you know what he was going through in his life at that time, there's just so many life-defining moments that George went through around, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98 in there. And that music is just still holds up today. Star People, I love singing that.
Great
I would love
song.
to throw that in, into the show. I could go on and on about his catalog.
Another one of my favorites is Spinning That Wheel, and every time I listen to that one, I'm like, man, this guy was putting it out there, and I hope everybody was like picking up what he's putting down because that is a brilliant, brilliant song.
I don't think they got it at the time when it came out, and I think that if you were to introduce that to the LGBTQ community today, if you were to introduce it to them, it still describes how a lot of people operate.
Yeah, absolutely. But going through that time that he came up through, when HIV was like really prominent and there was that fear factor, and that song just really, for people that were in a relationship, that song just really nailed it.
Yeah. He had his talent and genius. And this is true with Taylor Swift and other amazing songwriters is they can take a consciousness that's in society and in the world of what people are feeling, and then they craft poems that tell the story so effortlessly that when you hear the story and then the music, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're drawn in by the music, the sound, But then when you find the lyrics and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, and it's like the whole package. I mean, that's George Michael right there.
Yep, I agree. It's so funny that we talk about Taylor, too, because I think with George and with Prince, both of them signing their deals so young and getting screwed over so badly that I'm surprised someone like Taylor coming along had the same situation. And I hope that future artists can look at these cases and learn from them.
Yeah, when he had that kerfuffle with Sony Music, I mean, he didn't want to make another Faith album, and they were like, please make another Faith album. He's like, no, I want to sing big band.
Yeah.
He's like, I have them now. They want my art, so I'm going to give them art. And they're like, no. We need you to be commercial and keep cracking out the same kind of thing.
And he was a true artist to the core.
Yes.
Gosh, I'm so happy to talk to you, Craig. Like I said, I enjoyed this show so much last year. I cannot wait for it to come back around. I'm going to be there with bells on and singing and dancing. And I'm taking tissues this time because I know I'm going to cry.
No. Jesus to a child and older, I mean, that will get you.
Yeah, absolutely. The show is The Life and Music of George Michael, a tribute, a party, an epic show, Tuesday, November 18th at the Florida Theater. Tickets are available at floridatheater.com. Craig, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I was creeping your socials, and I'm like, this guy looks so cool. I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for getting the word out about the show. We're excited. We had a great time when we were there last year, and looking forward to seeing everybody. And yeah,
well, give Bubbles a big old hug before you leave town.
I will. Thank you for asking about her.
Absolutely, man. Safe travels, and we'll see you in November.
All right, take care. See you soon.
Thanks, Craig. All right, The Life and Music of George Michael will be at the Florida Theater on Tuesday, November 18th, floridatheater.com for tickets. You may have heard me mention on that interview that I was going to be at the show, and also on the previous interview that I will be at Clue. As it turns out, those shows are happening the same night, and being invited to host the after party for Clue. And because I had already seen the George Michael show, I've decided I'm going to go to the Clue premiere. So if anyone heard that and put that together and thought, wait a minute, you can't be at two places at the same time, I thought I should disclose that information. Okay, thanks for listening. I'll drop another episode in a couple of weeks to let you know what's going on for the rest of the year. Once December hits, I get super busy with our toy drive at the radio station, so I probably won't drop another episode then until the new year. But again, thanks for listening and keeping up with what's happening live from Jacksonville.